Greetings and salutations, my friends, and welcome to Discovering Your Inner Light, Episode 4, with the handler and Nyrel Moore.
Thanks for having me.
Man of God and political constituent. And it's so great to have you here on the show today, Nyrel.
Thank you.
It is very excited to be in our Episode 4 and to have Nyrel here. And well, I want you to get to know Nyrel. So Nyrel, tell us your testimony and tell us why you are here.
Well, I am running for state senate, so District 10 here in Connecticut. So I'll be running against Gary Winfield. So that'll be encompassing New Haven and West Haven. And I got into politics because I wanted to see a change for my future. I saw that a lot of things weren't really going how they should be in our community and just with the government, and I want to be a part of that change. Because I see where people's mindsets are a lot of the times, and ultimately they're not on the level that they need to be if they're going to create a future that is going to benefit them. So I wanted to be part of that change, and that's why I did get into politics.
You know, and I recommend everyone get involved, because if you get involved, then you're at least a part of the solution. When you just sit back and watch it all happen, well, you're a part of the problem.
Exactly.
Right? So I always like to say, contribute to the betterment of our future, and that's by choice, right? We do have free will and choice. Now, one of the things that I want to go right back to now is because, discovering your inner light is about discovering the soul inside. And well, when we first met, we had a conversation about God within.
Yeah.
So tell me about God within.
Well, for me, it kind of came to studying a lot of the universe and spirituality and trying to connect the dots. So I grew up really understanding string theory, quantum physics, because I was huge into like understanding about Tesla and how he his outlook on his perspective on life was when it came to numbers, etc. And Albert Einstein. So those were two people that I actually looked up to growing up, and looking at their formulas, looking at like how they put the pieces together, it kind of got me to want to understand more. And then when you start to dive a little deeper, and then you realize that a lot of this stuff actually connects to things like the Kundalini, the chakras within. So once you start to align that stuff and you truly start to understand where you need to be in society, and that's why now it's more of like me realizing that it's all from within. It's all starts becoming the best you can be internally. And that's what God would want us to be. He wants us to be the light within. And we lose that light because we're not given the knowledge that's gonna better us or for the betterment of the people. We get things in our school systems that kind of stagnates us spiritually, and it's meant for the system that we live in. But the matrix is designed ultimately for your failure internally, and we need to get past that on a deeper level. And you have to unpeel those layers. It's almost like a peel in an onion. But once we unpeel the onion, there's layers to it.
Layers.
But once we unpeel that onion, I think that society is going to thrive and succeed in ways that we can only attest to our ancestors doing.
And there are many layers, and it does take time, right? But you have to cut through society, and that's why I try to go out there and I try to connect with people. Say, something, I'm going to get your attention. I'm going to be that shiny object to take you away from what you're distracted from in our world. And in this world, you're meant to look outward for the answers rather than inward.
Yes. They build the world off a lot of distraction. And distraction is what keeps the matrix going. They keep you in a feeling of euphoria, but also keep you in a feeling of stress. So you constantly are working to get to a period or the weekend where you can now have a euphoric high where you get to relieve yourself. But ultimately you get 2 days to relieve yourself and then 5 days to work for a system that's not designed to help you. So a lot of people work the 9 to 5s throughout their whole lives, not seeing the true strength of what they can be because they lose that light from within. because they have to work the everyday life, having children, making things a little harder for them. And the economy is getting worse and worse because of the way that our politicians are voted in, putting things in putting things in place that aren't really helping the economy. So that all encompasses what the reality that they're setting for us. And we need to try to, again, break those layers, but it starts from within. And that's where we need to get back to as a human society.
So today, I write a poem every day. Every day is a happy day by choice, right? You know, I love to emanate a level of positivity because we have the ability to change our future.
Exactly.
But we have to first live in the present to create that future, right? It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in the past, well, you're not going to ever change that future, right?
And that's great that you said we kind of create our futures, manifest destiny. So what you're really resonating is what you're gonna give off into reality. And we have to realize that we are creating our own future. So a lot of people go through the same struggles over and over and over again, and they're not understanding where it's coming from, but they're not changing anything about themselves or keeping themselves accountable for some of the actions that they're doing that's keeping the cycle going. So generational curses, for example, are one of those things that continue cycles of people not understanding what they're doing that's affecting them. So we got to break a lot of these cycles in order to get back to the spiritual God that's within. But it also comes to religion as well. Religion is also a thing that is divisive, and it's the word. Do believe the word, but it's how we go about understanding the word and the message. And like you said, we create our realities. So we need to start creating from within and not opening up a book, praying to God without, and not changing what we're doing in our everyday lives.
You know, people say, I'm going to pray for you. And when I say to them, I say, well, I already prayed that you would be here to help. So why are you then going to say, I'm going to pray for you, I'm going to hand it off to somebody else?
Yeah.
And that's such a common theme. It's like, you know, I don't want you to pray. I call it boots on the ground. It's called, you know, if you are empowered with the Spirit, with the God within, well, don't start praying for people.
Yeah.
I mean, let people pray for themselves that they'll discover the light inside.
Yeah.
And so that this way they'll start doing something. But you know, the chosen ones are here.
Yeah.
Now, today, you know, it's all about becoming aware, and it's called the awakening, right?
Yes.
Now, I write poetry every day. Now, today's poem is Happy Wakefulness Wednesday, my friends. In hopes you are aware, because I have been saying for years for you to beware our government that is causing despair,
Yes.
and that God cares. So He sent His chosen ones to answer your prayers. Well, you have just met chosen ones, right? And well, we are doing everything possible to change that future. Now, what I see as a problem out there when it comes to religion is not that just everyone's saying, well, I'm going to pray to God for you. Thank you, but how about you go do the task that God asked, which is help me or them or those, whoever, right?
Yes.
But, you know, be the boots on the ground for God, right? But religion they're just stuck in waiting for Jesus or just in this little world here. You don't see a lot of them stepping outside to say, okay, well, especially not in the church. I mean, I go to churches all the time, different places just to see it. And they're not out there saying, well, let me talk about politics. Let me get involved. And I'm like, well, hold on a second here. You know, well, if God has empowered you to do something, you know, maybe it's to feed the weak and the meek and the homeless. I don't know, but I guarantee you, God has empowered many of y'all to do something more than what you are doing.
Well, it's because people they don't understand that they say the church and politics, they don't go together, but it's spirituality and the movement of the world goes together.
Yes.
And people can't put two and two they can't understand that those are the same meaning. So what we do spiritually and how we portray ourselves in reality also can eliminate evil in the world if we understand what the evil is. So we have evil within our politics, for example, that a lot of people aren't aware of and oblivious to because they cannot understand the spirituality that's behind it. So it's like a battle between good and evil, and evil has been winning for so long, and
A long
now
time.
it's coming to light, and people can't understand that the light is coming from within now. So you have to now change yourself in order for everything else around you to get better, because if you don't change yourself, we're going to see society go down. We're going to see society come to a fall. For example, there's men trying to be women, women trying to be men. And we say that's not political, but that's a spiritual thing that God wouldn't want his children to, I believe, move in the light that way. So he would want his young women, his young men to be as such as they were born. And if we can see that happen in society, we need to realize that society is on a decline, and we need to start to fix how we think about things, how we rework things, in order to make sure that the next generation actually has a established earth or world to live in, because they are going to live in a society where anyone can be anybody or anything, or you can identify or feel as though you can be a cat or a dog, and once we get there,
Or furry.
and once we get there, we're gonna have, unfortunately, men identifying, or grown women identifying with children, and that's the big thing that we need. That's the most important thing that we need to combat, because if we can get rid of a lot of the human trafficking and the child trafficking in the world, I think we can get rid of a lot of the problems. But it starts with the people that actually are causing the problems.
So I don't blame the individuals. I mean, they do cause chaos with all their, way of being. Let's say, and this whole transgender movement, right, is just out of control.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off every time I see God's rainbow being used for.
Exactly.
I make pictures all the time, all these great images, and what do? I stay away from that rainbow because I am trying to promote God, not your transgenderism, simply put, right? And I'm not. And once again, I blame society.
Yeah.
I mean, even our own government, they're promoting it. California, they give you an extra $1,000 to be it. I mean, everywhere you go, but here's the thing: is you go over, if you leave the country, they'll chop your head over it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so America has got it all twisted up. But guess what? They have done that intentionally. So I don't blame you. Society has created you, right? You're just so confused. You don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and that's, society has created this issue, but people don't know who the real enemy is.
They don't.
And unfortunately, you can't mention the real enemy because you get labeled a certain thing that I don't really want to discuss on camera. But you most likely know who I'm talking about. And these people, they have controlled society in a way that made them look like the victim. But in reality, they're the ones that are the oppressor. And you look at history, and if you really do a deep dive into things like World War II and World War I, and look at Berlin, Germany, for example, and do your history on the transgender movement in Berlin, Germany in the 1930s, you'd realize that these people have been doing this for a very long time. And it's here in America now, and it kind of started there. And we need to kind of work back how we look at our people at the top, and realize what they're doing. Hold them accountable for their actions.
We definitely need to hold them accountable. They have a plan in place, and I'm just going to spend a little bit more time on this topic, because then we'll move on, because I think it's a very disgusting topic, talking about the sexuality of children and child trafficking and human trafficking and all this stuff. I think it's really outrageous that these are topics that we have to have that, and people are so unaware of. However, what they're actually trying to do is they, even with scary movies, they're trying to make us numb, right? They're trying to desensitize us, so that this way, everything's okay.
Yeah.
You being a dog or slopping off your thing is okay. You being, a man but getting Woman of the Year, well, that's okay,
Yeah.
right? However, now we have pedophiles that are now minor attracted adults, right? So they're trying to. Oh, by the way, and you have a child at a very young age that can say, well, I want to be the opposite sex or opposite gender
Yeah.
at a young age. So
Doesn't make sense.
So if they can make a decision and the parents be removed from that, then well, how far do you think it's going to take, or how long do you think it's going to take before that same they may pass a law or whatever they do that says, oh well, if they can decide what gender they are, well, surely they can decide at that age of 8 or 10 or 14 or whatever young age it is that who they can have sex with, as far as a minor attracted adult. So therefore, they are paving the way. That would be the elites, our government, the globalists. I mean, we can point fingers at all of them, right? But there's a plan in place to really make this happen.
So if you look at things like the Olympics, you can see that there's people in power that are pushing this agenda on the normal people in society to make us feel that as though these people need to be included, and they're the most I don't know the word for it, segregated, I would say, community, or one of the most segregated communities in society. But if you look at deaths in Chicago, for example, or black men dying in Chicago, there could be 1,000 black men dying in a year in one city, but they're looking more at the transgenders that died, the 17 that died within the year span, not even looking at the 1,000 that passed away in Chicago. So they are pushing this stuff to the forefront because they want to cause confusion or stir confusion within our youth. Because if they can push confusion within our youth, they can ultimately control what they want and do what they want. So that's when the pedophilia comes into play. The pedophiles can now go in with their confusion to a confused group of children, basically, or community, and tell them as though that what they need to be. And because they are already accepting confusion, they do not see what the devil is actually doing to them in disguise, which is giving them this feeling of love and euphoria, which is not actually love, is actually a detriment and destruction to themselves. But that's the devil's ploy onto society. He goes in through illusions and he makes it seem like he's giving you something that you need and he's giving you everything that you want. In reality, 50, 60 years down the line, it's going to be the worst off for your family's lineage. And that's what we need to get past, and that's where we need to go back again internally.
I want to say is we have a problem and we need to fix it.
Yes.
If you're just tuning in now, this is Discovering Your Inner Light. If you're just tuning in now, this is Discovering Your Inner Light, episode 4, with the handler and Nyrell Moore. So Nyrell, it is very exciting to meet another man of God, right? A man that knows God within, the spirit that you have, and the energy that you plan, that you're going to utilize, and to get done and accomplish your goals, right? And I know you have serious political goals, but
yes.
But what do you have any other, purposeful goals from God?
Well, my goal is to make sure that the next generation, they are protected. I coach as well.
Oh, nice.
I coach for the Seahawks of West Haven.
That's great.
But I want to make sure that they are the men that they need to be also. So it's not only protecting them and making sure that they have somebody who can hold that veil over them of protection from the darkness that's without. But I also am trying to show them who they need to be personally. So I know that a lot of these young boys and young men in the world, they don't have father figures in their lives. And I want to be somebody who can be, I don't have any children, but I want to be somebody who they can look up to. Somebody who they can see making a difference at a young age, and seeing that they can do this stuff. They don't have to wait when they're 50 and 60 and 70 to start really making a change. They can start waking up at a younger age and start doing it now, because the time is now, and nobody's gonna wait for you. Somebody else is gonna do it if you don't do it. So why not you and your people do it, or my community do it, so we can be that light that shows everybody else what we can do.
And we have so much power inside of us. Right now, I want to dive a little deeper into my journey, because I wrote a book called Discovering Inner Light, and it's how to grow the connection to God, how to grow the God within you. Now, the experience and the journey is whew. Let me tell you something. Once God has learned He can train you, oh boy, you are going to get trained in a way you have never imagined, right?
Yeah.
And you will go through trials and tribulations, and that's the thing is there's so much of what I've done and said and have written that has gone right back to the Bible, right? And right back to the book. But here's the thing is the book is very old. The Spirit is real time. And God is inside you and everywhere.
Yeah.
So you may need to maybe vet some of your stuff in the book, or you may need to utilize the book as an aid to get you there. But my goal is to get you there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because I want you to use your spirit, and I want you to learn. Because here's the thing is, you can't expect that Spirit's going to say exactly what you need. When I woke up, man, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like a child.
Yeah.
But that's a key point, is God said, come to me as a child. That would be your inner child. You have to be playful, forgiving, because, well, guess what? You're a child.
Yeah.
Right? And children are very forgiving. But children, well, they need to learn. And there's nobody better to teach a child, than God.
Yes.
And I'm talking about utilizing your spirit as the God within that's connected to everything to do that training. And if you may not agree with everything, but if you commit to it 100%, then you will see the hand of God in every aspect of your life.
And I think that people need to get back to connecting the Bible or the scripture that they read to things like meditation, aligning the kundalini, aligning their chakras, using the right chakras to get the best out of you instead of using your root chakra all the time. Because a lot of us are using our root third chakra a lot of the times, and that is the bestial chakra energy that resides within us. If we can learn how to utilize that and tap into that, and we can unlock things that we have never seen, and especially as men. But we don't have these conversations because we are unaware of what's going on, or that veil of society, because his spirituality, the deeper you go, people like to look at it as witchcraft in a sense. But I wouldn't say witchcraft. I would say it's more getting back to nature. And that's what things like Big Pharma, they've turned us away from nature. The government,
Big time.
yeah, and the government turned us away from nature. So when we see things that are more natural and more spiritual, we have a declination to it, because we want to turn away from things that we don't know. But these unknowings is what actually truly unlocks. And that's what we need to start unlocking more, because our brains are turned off. And completely. And people think everything they're doing, whether they can be a PhD, they can be a doctor doing all of these surgeries and to be the top neuroscientist in the country, but if they don't have that connection to God mentally, what they're doing is not truly unlocked.
No, it's
and
not.
They can be a PhD, again, being the best surgeon in the world, but if they unlock their spirituality and put two and two together, they probably be creating synthetic body parts out of human flesh.
I'm serious. When it's a training, you can be a very skilled individual.
Yes.
And have no connection with the Spirit.
Exactly.
Because and everything is on your own merit. But it's that process, and that's why I always say trust and believe. You have to trust and believe in what the Spirit is telling you, and you have to commit to that 100%, because in time you're going to get so trained that you are going to have that blend of your merit and God's merit. It's going to become one.
Exactly.
It's going to be like, okay, well, God, I got this. Oh, I forgot I didn't have oh, you got it. I mean, and you're going to have
Exactly.
fun with God and your Father, your Creator, because, well, He's real, and He's really inside you, right? And you and everyone else out there,
And
right?
everything within. So everything that is natural living, or is everything around us, is created by God. Thoughts are just things that we pull out from the fourth dimension and create them in reality. But again, people don't understand things like dimensions.
Now,
I'm huge and I love stuff like that. So I could talk about how we're in the third, and all of our thoughts and ideas and time kind of resides in the fourth, and how things can be manipulated from the fifth. It's a hard thing to really describe, but I think like that naturally, and people don't even have that thought process. And I know that God has given me the wisdom that I need to better my people, and that's what I truly want to do for society, because I see where we're going, and I see how the government has tried to, or not even just the government, the people above the government that are trying, that have been trying to steer us down the wrong path for so long, and it's finally here. It's fine. Their mission is here. Their new world order, their plan that they've been trying to align us with for the last 60, 70 years is finally coming to fruition, and it's failing, and we're winning. But we need to make sure that we win enough people over as well before things happen to those people that unfortunately are not going to be beneficial to their next generation.
you want what I've learned, and I've been doing this for 12 years now, as far as since my first awakening into to basically walking with God within. I mean, it's all through my book, but what I've learned is is truly trusting in God's timing, and I'm going to go. I have the spirit inside me has the level of determination to just go, don't stop, and God will stop me. He says, no, it's not your time.
Yes.
You're going to walk right into that. And so I have gotten so used to that. I'm like, just like, okay, I'm so accepting of everything, and well, God always wins, and the awakening is really happening. So the coolest thing is now I am calm and cool, watching the chaos unfold,
Yes.
knowing that, well, we already won, and that it's going to be who chooses to be with us by our side as we're winning.
Exactly.
I mean, it comes down to that. Like, who do you want to be with? The winners or the losers?
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Welcome to the winners.
Absolutely.
God's chosen here on Discovering Your Inner Light, episode 4. Guest speaker, Nyrel Moore, political constituent. Make sure you vote for him.
Yes. If you are in District 10, so that would be West Haven and New Haven, please vote for me this upcoming election. Everything we just discussed is everything that I truly want to represent, and the sky's the limit for the next generation if we can get the people in power that can truly make a change.
We need to cleanse the government of the old, and the children are our future. We need to fill our future in our government, in our world, with young minds that are going to get it done. And as far as I'm concerned, when I mean young minds, remember, I already told you, God said, come to me as a child. I want you to be that inner child and watch how us young minds get it done with the handler at Magnetic Movement and all our friends everywhere across this world, God's green earth. I love y'all, and I'm going to see you real soon. Be well.